This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Welcome everybody. I always wanted to give a drasha in Moses Montefiore's shul. Actually, on our first trip to England 4 years ago, we went to the shul of Rabbi David Nieto. And in Rabbi David Nieto's shul, there's a seat which was reserved for Montefiore. When he used to daven there, he used to sit in that particular shul. Among Montefiore's many accomplishments is he really built up Eretz Yisrael, and specifically Yerushalayim. The first settlement outside of the old city of Yerushalayim was Mishkanas HaSha'ananim, which was built by Moses Montefiore. In the olden days, as we mentioned, if you looked out of the peephole of the old city of Yerushalayim, all you could see is sand dunes, you could see some Arab nomads, but there was no civilized life outside of the old city of Yerushalayim. And he, under the direction and encouragement of Shmuel Salant, really helped build up the old city of Yerushalayim. He helped Jews with their livelihood. That windmill that you see was built by Montefiore to give Jews parnasa. It actually was not a very great success. The parts were very specific, and as soon as one part broke, they really had no way of replacing it. Now, Kever Rachel, you know the iconic pictures of Kever Rachel with the white dome that was built by Sir Moses Montefiore. It looks exactly like his personal grave. And so many of the sites in Yerushalayim are the responsibility of Moses Montefiore. And now we're in the Beis HaKnesses. We know the Gemara tells us in Masechta Brachos that they told Rabbi Yochanan they're old people in Bavel. So Rabbi Yochanan said it's impossible. How could there be old people in Bavel? It says, L'man yirbu yimecha malhu adam. You could only live long in Eretz Yisrael. So how could there be old people in Babylon? So they said, well, the people in Babylon, they come early to shul and they stay late. That's why they live long. But the question is, the Maharsha asks, but they're in Babylon. They're not in Israel. You can only live long in Israel. And the Maharsha explains, the air in a shul is the air of Eretz Yisrael. The air of a shul has aviro da'ara. When you're in a Beis HaKnesses, it's like you're breathing in the air of Eretz Yisrael. So the same way when you're in Israel, the air makes you wise. When you spend extra time in the Beis HaKnesses, that air is invigorating spiritual air, and it elevates you spiritually. It increases your spiritual intelligence. So, standing in this holy spot, the Beis HaKnesses of Sir Moses Montefiore, someone who is such an oyev Eretz Yisrael, I would like to explain the connection of Montefiore to Eretz Yisrael. Here's a man, he's born in Italy, he's an Englishman, and he risked his life 7 times to come to Eretz Yisrael. Why did he love the land of Israel so much? So where's Yaakov? Yaakov sent me a really great story that I looked up in the Sefer Chazoin Tzion, and it talks about when Montefiore met Rav Hillel Mishkalav, who was the founder of the Ashkenazic community in Eretz Yisrael. It was the first Av Bezdin of the Prushim in Yerushalayim. And it brings that one time one of Montefiore's relatives came to visit him, Leonard Montefiore, and he says, Moses, what's up with your connection to Israel? Why are you so into Israel? Like, all you're focused on is the land of Israel. Why do you love Israel so much? And he says, let me explain something to you. It was one fine Saturday night, and me and Judith just made Havdalah. By the way, his relationship with his wife was very unusual. He had a very close relationship with his wife. He never had children, but they would go on vacation, and Montefiore would read from the Bible to Judith. This was the kind of relationship they had. And they were singing songs about Elijah the prophet, Eliyahu Hanavi, as we do Motzei Shabbos. And Montefiore commented to Judith, hey Judith, wouldn't it be spiritually elevating if we could go to Israel and walk through the mountain that Elijah the prophet walked through, Hara Carmel, and see the sites that Eliyahu Hanavi is associated with, and he promised Judith he would take her to Israel. That night he went to sleep and he had a dream. And in the dream, a man with a flowing white beard appeared to him as the guise of Eliyahu Hanavi. And he said the following 2 words, V'koinei hakoil, God owns everything. And he pointed toward Jerusalem. And he woke up. And he went back to sleep. And the man with the flowing white beard appeared to him again saying the words, V'koinei HaKoil, pointed toward Jerusalem. And again he goes to sleep and he wakes up. He has another dream, and again Eliyahu Hanavi, go to Jerusalem, V'koinei HaKoil. And on Sir Moses Montefiore's personal signet ring, it had engraved on it the words, V'koinei HaKoil. And that's quite moving. Someone of his caliber of wealth, his motto was, it ain't his, doesn't belong to him. V'koinei HaKoil. He's just the gizbar, the apotropos. He's just the guard for the wealth that God gave him to give out to the Jewish people. So this was the source of his connection to the land of Israel. So he had actual divine revelations of Eliyahu Hanavi, and many people have dreams in life, but he capitalized on his dreams. He risked his life to go to Eretz Yisrael. And many of the Jewish institutions in Yerushalayim today owe a great debt of gratitude to Sir Moses Montefiore. So we're going to daven mincha over here. As we know, la'olam hevei adam zahir b'tfilas hamincha. One should spend extra carefulness in the tefillah of mincha. She'eliyahu hanavi lo'inena ela b'tfilas hamincha shenemar aneni Hashem aneni. Thank you very much. Gayach.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.